I just can't get over this. She said,
It's just my finances. Like, the budgeting, you see how I am nitpicking every little thing. I've never been like that. We were in Bloomingdale's yesterday. I'm like, we have to go to H&M.
Yeah.
Like I notice it in me now, just nitpicking. And it's not even, I just don't have it like to spend the liquid.
Yeah.
I'm used to having liquid. I'm used to seeing a certain amount in my account. But
she said, I was at Bloomingdale's the other day. She said, I was at Bloomingdale's the other day, and I looked around, saw everything was expensive, and I said, oh, we have to go to H&M. That is funny, and I don't care if you guys don't think it is. That is really funny to me. Hello, and thank you for watching and listening to another episode of The Podacity with Keita Rose. Here we dare to use our voices, have the audacity to own who we are, and vow, raise up your roses, vow to never stop, never shrink, and most importantly, never.
Shut up.
Yeah, never. No, it's not gonna happen. A lot of people have tried to shut me up. It's not going to happen. Like, share, subscribe, talk shit in my comments. Tell me how you really feel. And I'm going to tell you guys how I feel about this whole b.simone debacle. Because it feels like the media is on a b.simone hate blitz right now, right? Like, you can't scroll on any platform, TikTok, Threads, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, without seeing people say, bad things about b.simone. This is what she deserves. She's a bad friend. She's shitting on people with 9-to-5s or men that had 9-to-5s. So now she's broke and all these things like that. Listen, if you think that this is going to be a dragging of b.simone, it's absolutely not. So if that's what you were waiting for, you can go ahead and get off this here episode, this here channel. This is not me dragging b.simone. I have nothing. This is not a dragging, but this shit is interesting. And so, it's Keita said it. We have to talk about it. b.simone just released a new episode of her podcast, Let's Try It Again, or Let's Try This Again, where she's talking with her best friend, Shekinah, and they're having like a really candid conversation. It was really real, okay? Couple things here. Just one thing first. b.simone got a lot of friends, ain't it? b.simone got a lot of fucking friends. Now, in this past 1 or 2 years, b.simone been best friends with Megan Ashley, Leticia Gardner, Brie Renee, Jackie O before she passed. And it's like b.simone got a lot of people by her, a lot of friends around her. And if you remember, y'all, in my last couple episodes, I don't know what number it was, we're only on 8, but in my last episodes, I talked about how I always wanted that like big group of girlfriends. I've always had like a couple of, like a handful of really good girlfriends that I've been friends with for 10 plus, 14 plus years, but never like a group of friends. Like it's me and 7 other girls and we just hang and we kick it. Like I've never had that. And you know what? Honestly, I'm glad. Let's stay on topic. So one of the viral moments, or one of the topics that people were talking about is, is b.simone a bad friend? Kind of was talking about how it was hard for her not to hold resentment towards b.simone because she was homeless. She's a single mom. She didn't have any money. She had to move back in with her family, her parents. And she was going through a really tough time financially. And I don't think people really truly get it. If you've never been through a really tough time financially, you don't really get how that feels, especially as an adult, especially as a mother, and especially as a single mom. I swear, and I let y'all know throughout the series that I dropped when I called out my former boss, like, I let y'all know how it felt being in debt and feeling like people were sabotaging me and people were playing with my money and, and taking from me when I have a child, and how it felt like nobody gave a fuck. People are like all out for self. And when you're a single mom, you have to worry about that baby. You got to worry about your kid. I'm blessed that I only had one child, Like I got one other person that I have got to keep alive and I've got to make sure they thrive. But there are people out here with 3 to 4 kids and they can't eat and they don't know where their next meal's coming from and they don't know when their lights are going to get shut off or their water's going to get shut off. And it's like that feeling makes you want to just give up. And I don't think people really get it, especially not if you're not a single mom. So she's saying that she went through all these struggles, right? Whilst being friends with a celebrity, b.simone being the celebrity, to watch her friend bless other people.
Didn't have a job, living with my parents, a single mom. All this happened to me this past year.
Jesus.
And then it's like to not have resentment in my heart towards you because I saw you do this for other people. I saw you give a check to somebody to help them through whatever they went through. And it's like, God, like nobody didn't give me a handout, but guess what? That wasn't your responsibility. God had to take me through that for my own season, for my own thing. I had to get my car repossessed.
Jesus.
I had to go through the food stamps line. I had to be on Medicaid. Because whatever I'm building my story too. But it's like, as a friend somebody who has it, it's hard to digest.
The conversation was prompted, like, her saying all this because b.simone was talking about how she's given so much, right? Like she's paid for houses for friends and she's paid for divorces and she's done everything for everybody. And when you're taken advantage of, you become, for lack of better words, you become kind of paranoid. And you're like, you don't know who's real. And you don't know who to trust. So now you kind of take all your resources and you just keep it to yourself because when you've blessed others before and when you showed up for others before, they weren't there for you. You know what I'm saying? So I can see where she's coming from. Like she was kind of like stingy with her resources. This is mine. When I've blessed others, nobody was there for me. When I blessed others, they've taken advantage of me, and now I don't know who to trust. This mindset, me moving from trauma, from these traumatic events that happened in my friendships before, stopped me from doing for you. And then she kind of is like, well, yeah, I mean, how do you think I feel when I really, really, really needed you and you weren't there for me? When I really needed a friend and you weren't there? Sparked a lot of controversy. That sparked a lot of conversation. People were saying like, if my friend needed it, I would give it to my friend. And then you have, people are split, right? Because then you have another party, other side saying, well, b.simone doesn't have to do anything for anybody. You're not obligated to help a friend. And I think when people talk like that, I feel like they're speaking from trauma because you are obligated to help your friends if you have it. You are obligated to help your family if you have it. If your family and friends have shown you that they are trustworthy, have shown you that they are respectful to you, have shown you that they, I don't want to say deserve, like they deserve it. I don't want to say that. But if I have a good friend, I got a best friend. I got a best friend that I will do anything for because she's done everything for me. I have another friend who I will do anything for because she has these women show up for me when I need them. So if they need me, I show up for them. If you call me and you say you don't have any money, if I got it, because there's been times I ain't had it and I'm like, yeah, bitch, and we just trauma bonded, which I found out that trauma bonding is actually not about connecting over trauma. Just found that out, but we'll talk about that at the end of the episode if I can remember. But if I do have it, I got you. My friend told me the other day, man, bitch, I can't even eat. I'm waiting till the first. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I really want to go to Starbucks. And I'm like, here's $20. I had $23 in my Cash App. I'm like, here's $20. Because, bitch, you deserve a Starbucks coffee. Everybody deserves a coffee and a smile. So if you have it, if these friends show up for you and if these friends pour into you, you should have no problem pouring into your friends. But when you're moving out of trauma, when you're moving out of a place of, I can't really trust nobody, and right now I got to be in this season of self, okay, this season of I'm going to worry about me. My money is mine. My resources is mine. My house is mine. My bed is mine. I've done that recently, not with money or resources, but with my time. And honestly, it feels a little bit liberating. I always wanted to be there for people. Like, you call me, I'm answering. You want me at this party, I'll be there. You want me at this, I'm gonna go. You need me to do something for you, for your project or your upcoming, I'm gonna do it. But you know what? I have allotted a certain amount of time a day. This is the amount of time that I'm gonna give to people this day. And I really plan out my day, of course, using my balancing my bullshit planner. Because sometimes you got to balance your bullshit. Thank you to those that have went down to kitasaid.com and picked you up a balancing my bullshit plural. It's a plural because it's a planner and a journal. If she wants to talk about her ain't shit baby daddy, I'm going to give her 45 minutes. But after that, I've got to come up with an excuse. I got to get off the phone with you. Your friend is pouring into you and doing things for you. Do I believe that you should give on to your friend and give to your friend and pour into your friend? Absolutely. Why wouldn't you? Yes. Why wouldn't you? So b.simone, she talks about like everything she's done for people, and I can't help but to remember the whole Megan Ashley situation, right? They had this big podcast, Know For Sure, it's a big thing, and then they split up. After that happened, it seems like there's a snowball effect in b.simone's friendships, right? So she falls out with her other group of friends, the friends that I mentioned. She had a girl group. There's a lot more than just the couple that I named, but the ones that I know for sure were her friends. Leticia Gardner and Brie Renee and Jackie O and Megan Ashley, all of them kind of hung out together in like this circle, this sister circle, if you will. And so they fell out, and where Leticia came out and was on TikTok, I think, and said something along the lines of like, B just decided she didn't want to be friends anymore. And she didn't know why. And it hurt her. And it broke her heart, but she had to let her go because she's like, okay, well, if you don't want to hang out with me anymore and you don't want to be friends with me anymore, I can't make you. I can't, I'm not going to fight it. It is what it is. And then b.simone, I remember being on a podcast. I remember her being on a podcast saying like, I wanted to stop drinking and I wanted to stop smoking and I just wanted to be in a different place. And my friends would have never, the friends that I had, which people assumed she was talking about Leticia Gardner. She was talking about that group. Right? I assumed she was talking about that group. My friends wouldn't have been okay with that. They weren't going to allow me to grow, in which Brie Renee had posted, commented and was like, that's absolutely not true. But this just isn't true. I still very much love you, but you got to stop with this narrative. None of us would have been mad that you weren't smoking. Stop trying to make it seem like we were such horrible friends when we quite literally supported everything you did. It's hurtful at this point. So the girl group didn't come out like, oh, F you. It wasn't like I don't think it was a spat. I don't think it was like anything really, maybe they just grew apart. And so we've seen b.simone be on this like spiritual type journey. We've seen b.simone go through many of things, and she's been very vocal and very transparent about how she has felt. b.simone is no stranger to being canceled and to having a lot of people, a multitude of people talking shit about her. I was canceled a couple of times, and I'm going to let you know now, if you don't have a strong backbone, if you don't know who you are, then being canceled can completely take you out. Having the world talk shit about you is really difficult. You have to know exactly who you are and stand on what the F you said and stand on whatever you did in order to prompt this cancellation, right? So you have to be a really strong person in order to deal with that. And a lot of people can't. A lot of people really can't handle what people say about them. And so b.simone has gone through this whole journey of being dragged every which way, every damn which way. And a lot of people feel like she deserves it. And whether you feel like she deserves it or not, that's not what we're here for. But I'm just saying, she's no stranger to that. So she's going through all this stuff, like with social media and everything like that. She's not friends with Megyn Kelly. People are speculating about that. And I want to talk about Megyn Kelly. I want to talk about this. Here's a clip I want to play.
We have a healthy business relationship. Our personal relationship affects our business relationship, but our personal relationship isn't a focus.
But
do you see what I'm saying?
No, I do understand what you're saying, but I'm saying the point of going to therapy is to hopefully mend that. It's going to look different. I don't feel like it's going to be exactly the same. We went through so much. We're two totally different people. It can still be mended in the midst of therapy. But I do feel like the focus is the purpose. And I feel like our focus is Know For Sure. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. We just see it too differently. Know For Sure happened because of our friendship. At the end of the day, we weren't two strangers that came together and decided to do a business. We were best friends who built this business off of our relationship. So that is KFS.
Right.
But if we don't have a personal relationship, I don't know how we have KFS.
We will have a personal relationship. Having a personal relationship doesn't mean it looks like exactly what it was.
Right. But I'm saying what it was is what built this.
Which is fine.
That's what I'm saying. It just is totally different now. And it feels like the purpose is the purpose shifted right now. There's nothing that's conflicting right now because we just don't have a relationship. So I don't know if that's necessarily a conflict.
You're saying uncertainty as far as where we're standing?
Yeah. It just feels very uncertain.
Really?
Yeah.
Even with me saying this is how I feel, this is being very upfront with that?
As far as what?
Our conversations and stuff. Do you feel like I'm not clear when we have dialogue on where I stand? Or
I feel like, I mean, without trying to divulge too much, I feel like in recent conversations, you've been very clear about wanting a business relationship only.
Right.
So, and I think that that's going to be very difficult to navigate. I just think that that conversation is difficult. I don't know how you go from somebody being, you know, such a good friend to I don't want a relationship with this person anymore. Yeah, it's different. It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. And two, because we never wanted to be that podcast that, you know, and this is probably why they say don't start a podcast with your friends, because, you know, people change their mind. And then it's like you got this business together and you got all these people that are like,
well, I haven't changed my mind.
Well, I mean, I'm just
You're
saying,
just saying things happen.
Well, you changed your mind. You changed your mind about me. You changed your mind.
I changed my mind about how I could handle our friendship.
Right. So you changed. I mean, that's the same thing.
I know,
you changed
but
your
you're
mind
saying it
about,
like, well, people change their mind. Like, I was just like giving up or.
Oh, in the clip, b.simone's like, we can handle all our problems in therapy. Right? All the issues that we have between us. They've never came out straight up. This is what happened. These are the text messages. This was said, right? So a lot of people were speculating, but they did do a very last episode of Know For Sure before they broke up. And in this episode, they were talking about it, and it was a very candid, very like vulnerable episode. And you could see how hurt Megan was. In my opinion, you could see how hurt she was. And you could hear the hurt like in her voice. And so she's like, I think that we should focus on our friendship. Our friendship is what started this empire, this big thing, right? And B's kind of like, I think that we should focus on the purpose. And the purpose is the podcast. And then when, you know, we work through what we work through in therapy and we get through what we get through. And of course, we'll have our friendship again and we can always, you know, link back up and be back friends again. And I'm sure we'll be able to build up our friendship. But for now, we need to stay focused and we need to stay working. And this is important to me. And the reason I say it's important to bring this up is because b.simone is very focused. And that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. But b.simone's very focused on getting up there in her celebrity, and she's very focused on getting that money. And there is nothing wrong with that. But if you remember episode 2 or 3, I don't remember. Again, this is only episode 8. But if you remember episode like 2 or 3, I was talking about how I was chasing after money. Like I was chasing after money, not to the point where I would do anything for money and compromise my morals, right? Like have sex or lay on my back, da-da-da-da. Not that, but I'm saying like, I was so focused and I wasn't present. When you're not focused and when you're chasing this thing that you believe is gonna give you all this freedom, whether it's financial freedom or just freedom, right? I feel good. I'm gonna be happy. This is what I want. This is what's gonna make me happy. This is what's gonna make me feel fulfilled. And I want to be successful. I want to be the most successful. When you start moving like that, you forget friends. You forget family. Nothing matters to you anymore but that goal. Nothing matters to you anymore but accomplishing that dream. And the fucked up thing about this type of mindset is that once you finally get it, then you just create another goal. Once you made 1 million followers on Instagram, that wears off for about a month. Everybody's congratulating you. You bought the fucking balloons. You posted on Instagram. You're like, oh, thank you, everybody. And then after that, you're like, now it's 2 million. And you know what? I tell you what, when I have less, I'm at my best. I remember, I don't know how many years it was ago, but if y'all know who Supercent is, she's like an influencer. And I remember her posting her like old apartment versus her like mansion, I think it was. And she was like, you know, it's funny because I felt the happiest in this apartment. When I got all these millions of dollars and all these riches, that's when I was at my most unhappy. And it's like, that's a lot of people's story. And we do not talk about that shit enough. A lot of people, when they had the most, that's when they were empty inside. And they say, you know, some people are so broke that all they have is money. And that's some real shit. But anyways, we won't go into that. Talk about this Megan Ashley situation because she's focused and she's like, she's focusing on the money. She's focusing on the pod. She's focused. And even when you fast forward to this podcast with Shekinah, right? Her new podcast, LTTA, with Shekinah, when she starts it off by saying, y'all, I was at the BET Awards. I am so tired, but it was great. And she kind of is like, yeah, most people would be partying. Most people would be or chilling out, partaking in some leisurely activities, but yet you're working. You want to do the podcast.
Wind on the couch. Oh my God.
See? Tired, sleepy. I said, you're the only person that I know that wants to get off of the BET Awards.
Because you know what everybody else is doing? They're going out to eat. They're going to after parties. They're getting drunk. They're turning up. And they just did the Icon Awards. None of y'all are icons. And y'all going to party? Oh no. We're about to go podcast. Yeah. It's time to work, babe. So I can be honored like Jamie Foxx was honored. So I can be honored like Mariah Carey was honored. So I can be honored like the icon I am. I'm trying to have longevity and be a legend. I'm not going to the club.
You're recording. You're at it. And she's like, exactly. B's like, exactly. And she's like, I'm going to be an icon. Everybody's at the Icon Awards having fun and turning up, but they're not even icons. I'm going to be one of those people that people talk about and that people congratulate, and I'm going to get an award for it. Again, very, very focused. There is nothing wrong with being focused. Nothing wrong with being focused, but it's kind of like what I know now that I wish I knew then was that those people that are having fun with their friends, they're not lazy or like stupid. Not to say that she called them that or anything, but like they're not dumb. They're enjoying their lives. I spent a lot of time working, and I prided myself on how hard I worked. And I even made content about how if you on the couch, I can't even be with you. If you on the couch, I can't even be your friend because you on the couch and I'm working. And I remember reading those comments then, and people being like, hustle culture is not a flex, and people are allowed to calm down, and people are allowed to lay the fuck on the couch. And in my mind at that moment, I was like, lazy. That's what I really thought. I was like, lazy asses. Only lazy people would say some shit like that. But now that I got burnt the fuck out, I have a different perspective. No, let them people lay on the couch. Now, of course, there's a difference between just lazy people, lazy individuals, people that don't have nothing, people that don't care to have nothing, that want to leech off of everybody or sit there and complain about how life is doing them so bad. And no, but for the people working the 9 to 5s, for the people that clock in and do the 12-hour shifts, that are tired of living because it's exhausting to exist, I can understand that. And so, though we take pride when we're in those seasons, right, of focus and drive and motivation, I realize that everybody that I've ever been around that have that type of mentality aren't fucking happy. They're searching for something. You got the businessman that's searching for the baddest bitches, and they got the baddest bitches, and they got all the chains, and they got all the money, and they got the biggest mansions, and they got the best cars. Them niggas is unhappy. And I know no one's going to see it like that, but if you trust me, trust me. Or the women that's like, they want the husband so bad, and they just want the husband so bad. They want the kids, so they finally find a man, and they popping out 3, 4, 5 kids, and then they're doing everything to keep the relationship together, to keep the marriage together, because they know that all they've ever wanted is this family, and they finally got the family. It's like you're searching. You're not living abundantly. It's not coming to you. You're chasing. Success comes to you. I know people don't believe it. Success comes to you. Money comes to you. It comes to you when you stop chasing. When I stopped chasing, I got everything I've ever wanted. Every time I stop chasing, I get everything I ever wanted. And what happens is, once you've gotten those things, you forget. You forget that type of mindset that you had when you were living abundantly and attracting things. You forget because you having things, and now you got shit. And I believe it was a way that we're conditioned, honestly, as Americans. This like capitalistic hustle culture gets you back going. It's like if you taste a little bit of it and you don't stay focused and mindful. That's the word of the day. The word of the day is mindful. If you don't stay mindful, it'll wrap you up again. It'll take your ass up again. Right? With the current. And you'll find yourself, I need a bigger house, and I need more shoes, and I'm telling y'all, I have so much shit. I just bought hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of clothes and jewelry and things. I just bought it because I felt like it was going to make me happy and I don't have anything to wear and I need to look better and I need to look prettier and I need to da-da-da. Y'all, I wear the same couple outfits a week. Not that I don't have all those clothes. I do. It's in my closet, stuff, and in my storage units and in my garages. So it's stuffed. I have all those things again. I'm going to give a lot of it away, actually. But I'm happier just, wearing the bare minimum. I'm happier being, just myself. I always wonder why those minimalistic people were so happy. Like, why are minimalistic people so happy? Y'all ain't got shit. That's what I thought. It's like, you ain't got nothing. No, they have everything. When you have your mind and you have the spirit and your spirit's good and everything is well within your spirit, you have everything. When your family is healthy and your son is doing good and your daughters are doing good and your friends are calling you up and they got those new opportunities and those new job and that new job, you have everything. I promise you, you have everything. So Shekinah's talking about how she lost everything, right? And how B sat there. And, Shekinah to me seems like a very good friend. She seems like somebody that you definitely want like on your team, in your circle, because she seems like she's going to tell the truth and tell you how it is no matter what and be very, very honest with you, but do it in a loving way, in a way in which it's not to be malicious or she doesn't have any like secret animosity. She just, she's got your back. And I can see that just in the way that she spoke in that episode. And I'm like, wow, like b.simone has a really good friend. She's had, it seems, a lot of good friends. But when you're focused on other things, sometimes you can't see that people are really there for you. In one of the clips, b.simone is talking about how she needs a team, how she really wants a team because she's building out this app. Her podcast is about to have an app and different things like that. So she's really focused on having a team. And Shekinah says, like, I don't think you need that right now. And I don't know what it is about that part, but I feel like maybe listen to your friend because your friend knows you and your friend knows what you're going through right now. And she's trying to like tell you something, but like as an adult, you can't tell other adults how to live their life and how to navigate through their business, right? You kind of you got to be supportive. But I feel like she was saying like, I don't think you need a team. I don't think you need to worry about more people. I think you just need to focus on you right now and don't necessarily focus on expanding. But even right there, B's like, nope, I do. I need a team. We're going to grow this. It's getting aligned because she's focused. And she really, really, really has a goal. And she's ambitious and she wants to eat and she wants to, I have no doubt in my mind that when she makes her millions, she's not going to give to her friends, but right now she focused on that million, period. She's talking about building this team and helping people and making sure they eat. And she doesn't understand why people have left her in the past because why do you need to go off and do your own thing? Right? Like, I'm going to be successful. I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be an icon and I'm going to be able to make millionaires. And she references Tyler Perry. She says, like Tyler Perry. And Shekinah's like, a little bit of shade. Shekinah's like, but are you in that position right now to do that? And I think that's what she means, like, about you don't really need a team. Like, are you in the position right now to do that? And she's like, no, but I will be. It's soon. Not everybody can see your vision and it probably will be soon. She works very hard, but are you in the position to make millionaires? And if you're not, then you have to understand that we are all trying to eat. Everybody is looking for a job. Everybody needs money in order to pay their bills and to raise their kids and to take care of their families. And so if I'm working with you and you can't pay me what I need you to pay me, or you're needing a lot of my time and I'm not able to work 2 jobs or figure out how I can balance that, I might have to walk away from you. And that doesn't mean that we're not friends. And that doesn't mean that I don't believe in your vision, but I might have to walk away from that. Me and my best friend worked together for a very, very long time. But when the business collapsed, and everything stopped, we couldn't work together. It doesn't mean that we weren't best friends. And when something pops off, which it will very, very soon, but when something pops off in the future, we'll be back working together again, if permitted. You have to also understand too, like the hard thing about being an entrepreneur and trying to have friends and families and relationships and everything else is the fact that you do tie business with pleasure and you're not supposed to do that. There's a reason. I think Megan Ashley was like, that's the reason why, people say don't start a podcast with your friend. It's like, now, if I tell you that I don't want to be in your business anymore, you're going to assume that we're not friends anymore, and that's not it. Or if I tell you that I don't want to be friends with you anymore, you're going to kick me out the business, and I don't want to necessarily be kicked out the business because this is how I've been paying my bills. So it's like, it's a catch-22, and it's true. Don't mix business with pleasure, but it's hard to do so. Why is it hard to do that? Well, it's because let's go back to what b.simone said prior, right? She's given houses and she's given money and she's paid for divorces and she's done all these things for people and they've snaked her. And so sometimes as an entrepreneur, especially as a woman, it feels better to have your friends around you because I've been your friend for 10 plus years. You never snaked me before. You never turned your back on me before. So I'm pretty sure that if we run this business together and we start being in the business together, you won't do me dirty. You won't do anything shady to me. And it makes sense. But then there's so many other variables that come into play. They talk about how I've seen other podcasters talk about how Megan Ashley was going through a divorce and she was having a hard time and she was really getting into her spiritual journey because I'm sorry, when people go through traumatic things, when people go through hell, they usually do seek out God because you realize that you can't do this alone, this thing called life alone. If you're only relying on yourself in this world, you're going to be not only very lonely, but you're not going to make it that far. I don't know who you believe in, but you got to believe in something. Because if you just leave it up to yourself and then you fail, you feel like a fucking failure. You feel like you're not good enough because you're not. There is sorry, I don't want to offend anybody. There is a higher power. You can't believe that you're only here by yourself. And if you do, okay, you do. I'm not, shitting on nobody's beliefs, but it's like, okay. So it's like you're focused and you're driven and you're determined and you're ambitious and that's great, but you're not present. And when you're not present, you're not going to listen to what people are saying to you. So then people stop talking. So then instead of a friend saying, no, I really don't think you need a team. I'm telling you right now, you're crashing out. You're doing these things. You're sounding weird. You're acting crazy or whatever. They all they can do is step back and drop little, I don't think you need okay. I don't think it's the same with that friend that can't stop dating these toxic men. And no matter what they do, or no matter what you say, they can't stop dating these toxic men and going through hell. So instead of sitting them down and fighting with them, because it does become a fight, instead of doing that, you just kind of like, you still with Rodney? Okay, girl, well, couldn't be me. You say a little shit like that, or can't wait till you leave them, or I can't wait till you guys break up, or you see, my favorite thing to say with people like that is, I can't wait till you see the value in yourself. I'd be like, I can't wait till you see you how I see you, because you don't deserve that. I say shit like that, and then I call it a day, because I'm not going to fight with you. You're determined to do what you're going to do. And so, is b.simone a bad friend? I don't know if she's a bad friend, but I will say this, because she's had a lot of good friends around her that still very much so love her. So I don't think she'll completely snake you, but do I think that right now she's focused on her career? And when people are focused, they're not present, and it's really hard to be a good friend when you're not present, just like it's really hard to be a good mom when you're not present. There's that nugget. And I want to say this, be careful. Be careful striving to be an icon or a celebrity, and I'm not just talking about b.simone, I'm talking about everybody. Be careful when you have this, I'm going to be a content creator and I'm going to be this and I'm going to be that, because when you finally get it, when you forget why you started in the first place. When I started doing content, it's because it genuinely made me happy. I was working a job and I was going to school, and I was a single mom, and I just enjoyed making content. Right? And it wasn't until I started getting all this money and I started getting this and that. Now I want more. Calm your ass down. Go back to the root. When they talk about root work, it's serious. It really is. When they talk about getting to the root, go back to the root of why you started this. And even in relationships, when you see couples that were so in love, but then now they're drifting apart, go back to why you fell in love with him. Go back to the reason why you fell in love with her. Go back to the start of it, because you're going to get so wrapped up in being this and having the notoriety and the validation and the claps and the praises and all this shit that you're going to forget who you are. And when you forget who you are, you start to lose things. You lose your mind. You lose your family. You lose your friends. You lose respect from the people that you want the most respect from. Be careful when you're chasing. Okay? For real, it's some really serious shit. Like, and I don't think people take it serious enough, and I didn't. I said everybody was lazy. I said, get off your fat, lazy asses and work. That's what I said. Then I got burnt out, and I said, okay, well, I'm going to take a couple mental health weeks. Another clip that went viral was, Shekinah was saying, like, I recently got an opportunity because the whole Shekinah being homeless, losing out and having her car repossessed, being a single parent, have to move in with her parents and all these different things like that. That happened recently. I think she said like last year or this past year or something like that. But then she says, well, recently I got an opportunity to do something pretty big. And you were like, And B's like, y'all listen to this.
Recently, I have this opportunity and I called you and I told you about it. And you were just like, okay. Mm-hmm. And you called me back.
I called her right back, y'all. I was so convicted. I was so convicted.
You were like, I didn't like how I felt when you told me that. And I was like, what do you mean?
We went through all the emotions. She's like, are you angry? Are you sad? Are you jealous? I was like, I'm not jealous because I don't want what you have. I'm sad and I'm angry and I'm upset that I'm not doing it with me.
Yeah.
Like, we're not working together. Anybody that's in my circle, I want to work with you. I want to put you on. I'm putting you in position. I like doing it together.
You do.
How can we do this together? How can we make money together? How can we build together? How can we grow together? How can we all pitch in together?
I felt really convicted. I felt convicted, which shows that she felt something. Bad people don't necessarily feel things. Bad people are like, I don't give a damn. They go about their day. But like, she felt something. She felt convicted and she wanted to call her friend back up to say, like, I don't like how I handled that. But a little bit of it was jealousy. It absolutely was. I absolutely think it was jealousy. Like, right now in this moment, I'm not getting that gratification because we live in a generation that's like instant gratification. We like to do things and get and feel that satisfaction and feel that gratification right now after we do it, like instantly. And so when we don't have that, it makes us feel stuck. It makes us feel like we're in a still season. It doesn't make us, it doesn't make us feel like we have an emotion. There's nothing going on for me right now. Now, that doesn't mean that in a week or two I won't get an opportunity, but for right now, I have to hear about your good news. I didn't like that. Her justification of it was like, well, it's because I want to do things with you. Like, I want, like, all my friends, we should be getting money together. You want this kind of like employee friendship thing where you work for me to build up my brand, and you need to and you need to pour into my vision, and my vision is going to blow up because there's already been proof in the pudding. You've seen my money. You've seen what I've made and what I've done for myself. So the proof is in the pudding. And if you pour into me, I'll help you. But other people, people have their own aspirations and people have their own dreams, right? And not everybody wants to be a millionaire. Not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. And sometimes people are happy with the roles that they get. And you kind of, not everybody wants to be the main actor. A lot of actresses and actors are okay playing that supporting role, and that's it. And they kind of just want to do their own thing with their own life. And you could say, well, I hate when people are like, well, you make $20,000 and I make $80,000. You should be doing what I'm doing. No, but what if I'm really happy with my position making $20,000? Well, you can't be, because I wouldn't be happy if I was making $20,000. That's you. Bitch, that's you. I experienced that too. I was like, hey, I was telling my friend, like, let's start all these businesses. And my friend was like, I really don't want to be an entrepreneur right now. Like, I don't feel like, because people don't understand entrepreneurship is you don't work a 9 to 5. You wake up in the morning and go to fuck to sleep. That's what you work. That's what it is to be an entrepreneur. And people don't really get that. It seems like being a girl boss and being this like powerful man seems great until you realize that a lot of them are strung out, alone, unhappy, burnt out, tired, and trying to get dopamine hits from every single thing, sex with other people and all this stuff, because they can't actually feel joy. They're not fulfilled. They're not happy, right? Because you're really, quite literally, you're killing yourself. It's not easy. And a lot of people have decided that they don't want to do it. And a lot of people have decided that they're okay working their 9 to 5. And I'm gonna get on that. I'm gonna get on a 9 to 5 soon. But anyways, he's like, people were like, why, damn. And it's hard. It was that episode. It's hard to defend because it's like, shit. On one end, I'm broke as all hell. I have nothing, and I really need your support. And you're not giving it to me. I'm not asking because it's not your responsibility. But you know what I'm going through, and you didn't even offer. So damn. But then when I finally get something, you're fucking mad about that. Shit. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. That Bloomingdale's clip, because I'm sorry, it's the way she teared up. And it's not funny, but that shit was funny to me. She teared up. She said, oh, you're in Bloomingdale's. We're at Bloomingdale's, and I'm like, we have to go to H&M. When you say things like, I had to go to H&M. It just shows how much money she's making. And now, like she said, she has assets and different things like that. There are people that gotta shop at H&M that don't have assets. There are people that gotta shop at Rainbow that don't have assets. I made a joke the other day about Rainbow. People were not having it. Like, bitch, I shop at Rainbow. Okay. All right, tough crowd. But you get what I'm saying? Like, there are people right now that can't feed their families. And, and then you're saying this right next to a woman that has a baby that she had a hard time feeding. Your best friend. That's some shit. That's some shit right there. But okay. I am okay. That was really funny to me. That whole clip had me dying. I played that clip. You already know that went viral, right? Of her saying that because a couple years ago, she went viral for saying that she wouldn't date a 9 to 5 man. And you can't say that, a 9 to 5 man. You can't say that in this economy or in any economy because the men that work 9 to 5 are always going to tear your ass up. Because they, no matter what you say, even if you lighten the blow by being like, no, you guys work hard. She even went back and she explained what she meant by it.
What is your purpose? No, I said I would never date a man with the 9 to 5 at this stage of my life, right? And at my stand-up show, I end my show with this now. I'm on tour with Martin Lawrence, arena of 30,000 people. I end my show with this. They clap it. I said, y'all are some of the hardest working citizens in the nation. You get up, you go to work, you take the kids to school, you clocking into a job you probably don't give a damn about. You got other hopes and dreams and all. You work so hard. I had a 9 to 5 less than 3 years ago. And then I say, clap if you would love to be there the next 50 years. The arena, I'm talking 30, gets quiet. I said, okay, if you would love to be there the next 50 years, I ain't talking to you. God bless you. Let me talk to these people that are going into this job every single day. You depressed, you got anxiety, you taking it out on yourself, your kids, your mom, your dad, because you don't want to be there. God has planted a seed in your heart. He has given you purpose. And until you find that, you lost.
Even if you say things like, you guys work hard, you guys are hardworking men, I didn't mean it like that, that's not what I meant. Them 9 to 5 men are going to be like, oh no, bitch. Because it's hard. I work hard and I'm a good man. And no man wants to be placed under these millionaire celebrity guys that everybody has this like focus on, right? But the way she said it and how she said it, of course, made people upset. I think Kevin Samuels, when he was alive, even touched on it. Like, well, b.simone, she shouldn't want a high value man because she's a 6. I think he called her a 5 or 6 in the face, which Kevin wasn't that damn fine. So I don't know how he could call anybody anything, but I'm not going to speak bad about the dead, so I know he's resting in purgatory. But, the manosphere was really upset with those comments. So, of course, it went viral now. So people are saying things like, b.simone is broke after shitting out on 9 to 5 men. And it's like, actually, she shit on 9 to 5 men years ago. It didn't happen immediately after, but anyways. Okay. So, I don't have anything to say about that. I think right now she's working on her app. Apps are extremely expensive. You need a lot of people on that app, and the people need to love your podcast so much that they're willing to pay $16.99 or $10.99 every single month to watch only your podcast. And that's a hard sell. So you have to put a lot of money into it. This is probably why she believes like she needs a big team, because it's very difficult to do that. I don't want to pay for Netflix, and Netflix has all the movies. So it's difficult to pay for an app And all you see is that one podcast. But you've got to love the podcast and really believe in the podcast. And I'm sure she's going to. I hope she gets a lot of success. I wish her nothing but the best. I wish her very, very well. But I do see a situation where I know people are like, she's a bad friend, she sucks, she's this. But I'm like, she's focused. And when you're focused and you're chasing because you're driven and you want this and nothing and no one will stand in between you and your goal. You're not present and you run away from yourself and you go away from, and you tend to be everywhere, which is why people were so upset with the whole like the baby episode. Cause it's like, what? You're in bed with the baby? I thought you were just a Christian. I thought you were just doing this. I thought you were just doing that. And it's like, I'm everywhere, ho. I'm doing anything I can. You gonna watch this damn episode, what you gonna do? Trauma bonding is a strong emotional attachment that develops between a person experiencing abuse and their abuser. Okay? So I thought a trauma bond was, I done been through some shit, you done been through some shit, and we're staying on the phone and we're venting to each other and we're bonding over our shared trauma. That's not a trauma bond. A trauma bond is a bond between an abuser and an abusee. And a lot of you guys don't quite understand that, especially with the whole Cassie Diddy situation. Well, I just don't understand. How come they didn't leave? Because you become bonded with people that abuse you sometimes. And I know that sounds crazy, but you start to justify things. This bond is often characterized by a cycle of abuse followed by positive reinforcement, creating a deep connection that makes it difficult for the victim to leave the relationship. That is a trauma bond. I'm going to wrap up this episode. Let me know down below what you guys felt about this episode. Have you ever experienced a time where you were chasing after a man or chasing after a relationship, a dream, a position, a certain amount of money, a certain status, and you lost yourself? I think that all of us would really do well to hear some of these stories because we don't talk about it enough and really see what people experience. A lot of people, they lose everything trying to gain the world. They lose it all trying to gain everything. So anyways, thank you so much for watching and listening to another episode of The Podacity with Keita Rose. And until next time, baby, I will holler.